Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, How to Chat with Images Data Using OpenAI's new GPT-4 Vision API. My name is Matt Brown, and I'll be your moderator today. Before we begin, just a few logistical reminders. Today's discussion is being recorded, and you're currently in a listen-only mode. You may submit questions throughout the session using the Q&A functionality in the lower section of your Zoom console. One quick note before we begin. When we originally scheduled today's webinar, we really had no idea that OpenAI would be dominating the news over the past few days. As of my last reading, I think Sam Altman was fired as the CEO, but then brought back to the table, but then negotiations broke down, then hired by Microsoft. But now I've been reading most recently in the past hour that 500 employees, including Ilya, have signed a letter threatening a walkout if Sam isn't reinstated as OpenAI's CEO. So pretty crazy times. We're trying to keep up with all the news, as I'm sure you are. If you know anything more than we do, feel free to post it to Q&A. I'd love to hear from you. But let's get back to today's topic. If this is your first time joining a SingleStore webinar, heads up that we present weekly webinars demoing data and AI use cases and new technologies. And if you click to the next slide, you'll see that tomorrow we're going to be presenting using OpenAI for automated HR resume scanning and evaluation. So during this, you can discover how OpenAI and SingleStore DB together can transform document processing and analysis in real time and at scale. So if that sounds fun to you, you can RSVP right now. It's the bit.ly OpenAI resume scan and evaluation webinar link that you can see down there. I know that's pretty small. I'll try to put that in the chat in a minute. You could also take a photo or a screenshot of that QR code on your screen. That'll take you to the same place. I hope to see you there. Heads up that we have great technical experts who are going to be part of this webinar today. They're going to be watching the Zoom Q&A, strong grasp of the technologies that are involved, going to be ready to answer your questions. We'll do some of those questions interactively as they come in, and then we'll also flag some for the final session, the final live QA at the end of the session. If you click to the next slide, you'll see that we'd love for you to try out the technologies that we're going to be showcasing today. In fact, anyone who tries it today will be entered for a chance to win brand new AirPods Pros. We can ship these to you. All you need to do is click the link, bit.ly GPT-4 Vision API raffle that's on your screen. Put that in the chat as well in a minute. You could also take a photo or a screenshot of that QR code. And all you need to do to be eligible is log into SingleStore. We have a free trial if you're a new user. Or you can sign into your existing account if you're already a customer or you have an ongoing free trial with SingleStore. That's all fine too. We'll just check the folks who log in during the next hour or so during today's session, and we will announce a winner by the end of today's session. So let me introduce our speakers. Ayush is a computer science student from Georgia Tech. He's got strong expertise in the topics that we're going to be discussing today. You maybe saw him at one of our previous webinars, NVIDIA Robot. He's done some really cool stuff together. And then you probably also know our other speaker, Akmal Chowdhury, who is a senior technical evangelist at SingleStore. He knows a lot about big data, machine learning, and AI. He's a regular speaker at our weekly webinars on data and AI. Welcome to both of our speakers. And I'll pass it over to Akmal, who I believe has the floor first.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. And so actually, my part is fairly small here. So Ayush is going to do the bulk of this. But I was away on vacation for 2 weeks. And OpenAI made some interesting announcements during that time. And I come back last week and Sam Altman is gone. Okay, as Matt was saying, it's a fast-changing world, Things really move very, very rapidly. So I won't spend too much time, but just say a little bit about SingleStore DB, and then I'll hand over to Ayush. So essentially, we get asked this question very often when we do a lot of the webinars about what is SingleStore DB. So it is really a distributed relational database. So if you go back in time, maybe 20 years or longer, majority of the database systems of the time, certainly the relational database systems, are very monolithic. If you want more processing power, just buy a bigger box. Scale up. With the development of technologies such as Hadoop and Spark, cluster computing, and this kind of scale out horizontal sort of ability to distribute the data, bring the processing to the data, that is the approach that really a number of relational vendors have taken, of which SingleStore DB is one of them. The other interesting thing about the product is that originally started off very much as an in-memory OLTP database system, keeping things in memory for speed. Over the last couple of years, added the ability to do OLAP, online analytical processing, columnar access, operations, some min-max, average count, do that at scale. And then there is a unified kind of table type that handles both of these requirements, which is sort of fairly unique in the industry, I would say. It is MySQL compatible. So if you're familiar with MySQL, a lot of the tools, the ways that you access the data and so on, readily usable with the product. The other thing is that it is also MongoDB compatible with the release of SingleStore Kai a little bit earlier this year. So this is the kind of big picture, if you like, the 30,000-foot view. And so we have at its heart the product with the universal storage, okay? So the ability to handle these two main types of requirements, the OLTP and the OLAP. And then we've got a variety of tools and techniques that we can use for the fast ingest. So things like Kafka, for example, okay? We've demonstrated a lot of that over the past year. I've used Spark a lot for transformations, using things like mlib. And then, of course, you can use things like S3 and Hadoop HDFS. If you have lots of data, you want to be able to read that in at scale. And this concept, and here you can see, this kind of nice animation in the middle here. What this is showing, I guess, is the kind of the pipelines capability and being able to get that data in parallel at scale. And we've used that in webinars previously. It's available on the 3 major cloud platforms, okay? AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. You can also run it on-prem if you wish, and there is a Docker container available as well. One interesting thing, so if you follow the link that Matt shared with you, you do the sign up, literally it's going to take like less than a minute of your time. Either use Google or Microsoft or put your first name, last name, and email address in. Once you've signed in, you'll get access to the portal, connect to the portal, log in, and under the settings in the bottom left-hand side, you'll see there's a section where you actually get a license, which will allow you to install a 4-node version free of charge. And that's on your own environment, whether that's on-prem, inside, or in the cloud somewhere. If you have space there, you can do that. We've talked about relational. Okay, so it is very much a relational database management system, but does other things as well. So it can handle geospatial. Okay, and we've demoed that in the past. Time series. So I looked at that at a webinar that I presented last week, and also a few times earlier this year as well. Full text search, that's very useful. Okay, Lucene is the full text search engine that's built into the product. We can also do other things, even key value. JSON, okay, that capability has been built into the product for quite some time, actually, but it's got even better with the development of SingleStore Kai, which was, as I mentioned, released earlier this year. Vector support, naturally, that is the kind of hot topic these days. Keep in mind one important thing, though, that the product has had vector support since 2017. I think it was originally a financial customer that requested it. And so this is not something that, as I often say, we just added today or yesterday simply because it's great and it's a hot topic and everybody is interested in vectors. No, I mean, this has been around for some time. It's battle tested. It's used by customers in production environments. However, I mean, despite the vector support that we have today, there's some cool stuff that's coming along in the pipeline. We are adding to the capabilities that we have. Okay, so watch for announcements for that in the very near future. Finally, just quickly, so real-time decisions, IoT applications, very easy to build. We've again demoed this at length in a lot of the webinars that we've done over the past year or two. And also, if you want to get the analytics out, whatever is your favorite tool that you want to connect in terms of building dashboards, whether that's Tableau, for example, or I use Metabase a lot, the free version, which is great. So literally within a couple of minutes, you can put together a nice visualization and have that based upon streaming data that's coming in. Ad hoc queries directly supported in the product. And the nice thing is that, again, if you sign up today and through the portal, it's entirely web-based. There is nothing to install locally, okay? So it's very low risk. You have the chance to try it out for yourselves, get some hands-on experience. There's lots of tutorials we have available. And again, if you've got some strong SQL skills, that's easily accessible through that interface. If you want to use something like a Jupyter Notebook environment, for example, maybe coding with Python, you can do that as well. So the notebook capability went GA very recently, and that's a great way. Again, all built into the same environment, nothing to install locally, and you can access the database system through that. And with that, so I will stop there and hand over to Ayush. Okay, so let me stop the share and hand over to Ayush, who will now take over and do the main part of the presentation. So see you later.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Akmal. And let me share my screen really quickly. There we go. Okay. Let me get started. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ayush Pai, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in computer science at Georgia Tech, really specializing in AI, machine learning. And I'm thrilled to share with you some of the insights and the latest developments in AI, particularly today with the GPT-4 Vision API from OpenAI and all the many applications it has to different industries. And in this first segment of our presentation, we'll be diving into the strengths of the GPT-4 Vision API. So this API really marks a significant leap in our journey towards more intuitive and interactive machine learning models. OpenAI has developed this model with a keen focus on versatility and accuracy in interpreting visual data. And the GPT-4 vision capabilities start with its core strength, which is really understanding and answering questions about the contents of images. Whether it's identifying the elements of a family photo or analyzing complex scenes, the model is built to provide contextuality, relevant information with really impressive accuracy in a lot of cases. Object detection and analysis from another pillar of the API's strength. From everyday items to specialized equipment, GPT-4 Vision can recognize and provide insights about thousands of objects. Another strength of the GPT Vision API is the optical character recognition, or OCR. And this has been a big topic of computer vision for many years. And it's really important to understand how text is written so that we can, interpret that from images. And the API really is strong with this in a lot of cases, and it extends to even handwriting, enabling to decipher notes, letters, or even historical documents, and bringing a new dimension to data digitalization and archival. And GPT Vision also really excels in identifying images that are really obscure or have little context. It can make educated guesses about the content, which can be really vital for categorization and sorting of visual data in a vast database. For developers among us, the ability to write and suggest code based on mockups can really speed up the development process. And this is another really great thing that the GPT-4 Vision API can do. You can take in an input of just something you drew up on a piece of paper of what a website should look like. And you can say, hey, GPT Vision, write the code out for this HTML or the CSS code, and it can create that pretty well. So it works pretty well for turning a visual draft into a working prototype with a lot of cases. And the API really stands out also in interpreting tricky diagrams from technical schematics to complex flowcharts, and making it a really valuable tool for students and professionals. And lastly, the identification of landmarks allows for enhanced understanding of geographical and historical context, really providing an educational tool that's both informative and engaging. And as we proceed, we'll explore some of these strengths, how they play a critical role in the way we interact with visual information, how they can be harnessed in various fields to really streamline workflows and enhance learning, opening up a bunch of new possibilities with this API. So here's a quick example of the GPT Vision API and GPT Vision overall working. And so this is an image that's being inputted, and it's just an image of a desk. And the prompt here is what is in this image, right? And this is really just to demonstrate its object detection capabilities. So in this image, you can see that there is, there's the desk, there's everything on the desk, the monitor, the keyboard, and GPT does a pretty good job. It identifies pretty well what's on the desk and we say what's on the desk from left to right. And obviously it might be missing a couple things here and there. I don't think it got the mug on the desk or a couple other things, but you can see the really great possibilities with this API on how it can do object detection. And typically object detection is a pretty difficult task in terms of training data. You would need a lot of training data to do something like this. There's other models out there such as YOLO, ImageNet that have a lot of data, but ChatGPT's additional context and GPT-4 Vision's additional context really allows it to make some more analysis on these images. And with their object detection and their large data set, it really does a good job on identifying images pretty well, objects and images pretty well. So another use case here is showcase. So basically, it can interpret pretty tricky diagrams, and this is a tricky diagram even for humans to interpret. It's a pretty complicated electronic circuit diagram, and it does a pretty good job of identifying some of the key components of it. And this is another thing where the text is pretty small, and even for humans, it's pretty there's a lot of arrows here and there going on, and with its vast data set on understanding of a lot of these things, it is able to do a pretty good job in giving you a pretty good summary of how this is working and understanding the various components of the circuit, and giving you a breakdown on what they do. And that's where its strength is compared to other vision models, where it doesn't have much context in terms of their multimodal language capabilities. And GPT-4 Vision allows you to take these images and bring additional context with their large language model. Here's another example. So this is a parking ticket avoidance. And basically this whole premise is, can I park here, right? And you can see a lot of applications with this as well. So the prompt here it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Can I park at this bar right now? Tell me in one line. And see, there's one, two, three, four, five different signs here. It's pretty complicated even for a human to understand, and a lot to interpret here. And so this is more than just the object detection OCR. Obviously, the optical character recognition can maybe, with some of the other models that are out there, can maybe detect the text on this. It says no parking, and understand what it's saying. But the GPT Vision API will really allow you to bring additional context and understand some of your questions that can really bring more detailed analysis, such as yes, you can park here up to an hour starting at 4 p.m. And it's taking all the text data from the GPT Vision API and really using its capabilities we've already seen over the last year with GPT 3.5, GPT-4, its ability to analyze text and make conclusions that are pretty good. And GPT Vision just adds another layer onto this and allows us to make even more advanced analysis. Another example here is landmark identification. And this is straight from the OpenAI GPT Vision official paper that they released. And here's an example. There's two of them right here. One of them is a New York Times, and the other, not New York Times, the Times Square in New York City, and the other one is a street in San Francisco. And here it kind of shows their vast data set that GPT Vision was trained on. Obviously, it might not work like this if you show it a random street in the middle of nowhere, but these are pretty famous landmarks. And if GPT Vision is trained on a very, very large data set, it's able to understand these landmarks and give pretty descriptive analysis of these landmarks. It's talking about the statue about George M. Cohan, an American entertainer, and gives more context on who these people are, and when. It even gives context about when the statue was unveiled. It says 1959, and this is one of the strengths of GPT vision, obviously, because you can get more detailed analysis just from an image. And the same thing with the image on the right. So now that we've discussed that, I think it's important as we continue our exploration of OpenAI's GPT Vision API to address the limitations that come with this groundbreaking technology. Obviously, there are amazing strengths, but understanding its weaknesses is really key to effectively leveraging its capabilities. And one of the primary limitations is the analysis of medical images. And this is directly according to OpenAI, based on their documentation. And it says GPT vision is not trained to interpret complex medical imagery, such as CT scans, and therefore should not be used for any medical advice or diagnosis. And this really underscores the importance of expert human judgment in healthcare. And obviously, over time, this could change when there becomes more GPT-4 vision data that's directly relating to healthcare. But as of right now, it's not specifically designed for medical images and should not be used, as it would not give the most qualified advice. Additionally, the model's proficiency with non-English languages, especially those with non-Latin alphabets, is another area for limitation. And the training data for these languages is not as extensive, which can really result in reduced performance when recognizing and interpreting language in these languages. And when it comes to small text, the API as well faces a lot of challenges. The granularity required to decipher tiny fonts can sometimes be beyond the model's current resolution capabilities. And visual elements and graphs or text with varying colors and styles, like solid dashed lines, may also pose a challenge for the model, and its ability to understand and differentiate between such elements is still evolving. Another thing specifically mentioned by OpenAI that's a limitation, especially for crowded scenes, can be tricky counting objects, obviously. And this is a really important task, especially when they're doing object detection. But this is a key weakness of the GPT-4 Vision API. And it's not about recognizing objects, but it's also about understanding the quantity in relation to the context. And GPT currently does like their best estimate possible, but it's not going to give you the exact count. So if there's like a image is a bunch of people, there's 100 people, it's not going to give you the correct number of people, because it's not trained specifically for counting objects. Lastly, spatial reasoning is a complex cognitive skill that really involves understanding and manipulating space, and tasks such as identifying chess positions are really advanced level, and GPT vision is still developing this skill. And this also this relates to the ability to kind of contextualize space and understanding how far away objects are from the camera, etc. And this is still developing with the GPT Vision API, and it's not fully there yet. By being aware of these limitations, we can really set realistic expectations and apply the API in scenarios where it can perform most effectively. And it's a reminder that the AI, while powerful, is not an augmentation to human capabilities. And it's an augmentation to human capabilities, and it's not really a replacement yet. So let's use these insights to direct future research and improvements on this field. And so let's just get started with the GPT-4 API itself. So basically, to start off with the GPT Vision API, you would firstly need to import the necessary libraries and set up the OpenAI client using the OpenAI key. And a crucial part of this process for taking in images is actually encoding the image in base64, which is a format that API specifically processes. Once our image is encoded, we can use the chat.completions.create method provided by OpenAI to send a prompt to the model and asking it to analyze the image. Here we see an example where the user asks, what's in this image? And by sending both the prompt and the image data, we can engage with the API to use its vision and language understanding capabilities to provide a response. This response can be printed out or used within your application to provide insights or actions based on the image content. And this straightforward process opens up the door to countless applications, from automating content organization, categorization to interactive educational tools. And so this whole response here is what's sent to the API, and there's a lot more parameters that we can go over and how this works. But for now, this is just the basic setup with the GPT-4 Vision API. So GPT-4 Vision can really elevate image data analysis, a critical component in today's data-driven business landscape. Image data extraction is pivotal across various sectors, including retail, security, and healthcare, to name a few. And GPT Vision brings an advanced level of analysis, harnessing the power of AI not only to identify and categorize images content, but also provide the context and nuanced interpretation. This capability really integrates seamlessly into the data analysis process, enhancing stages such as data collection, cleaning, analysis. And by leveraging GPT-4 Vision, businesses can really transform their approach to image data, gaining deeper insights and really driving innovation with this new technology. So here's an example here of optical character recognition. And you can see here, this is a subway in New York City, and it seems like the user, based on the API call, is asking, what does the board say at the top? They want to understand what's going on. And this is just plain optical character recognition. Here's the GPT Vision response. It's just saying all the trains that are when they're coming, and they're just printing out the data. There's not much analysis going on here with this type of prompt, but the real value with the GPT Vision API, obviously OCR is a problem that's already been solved by many different computer vision models, but the real value of the GPT-4 Vision API is its ability to combine OCR with GPT-4 advanced analysis to create really an advanced image analysis. So here you could ask, what time will the R train arrive and where is it going? And this is just an image as the input. And the GPT Vision output is the electronic sign indicates that the R train is going to Bay Ridge 95 Street and will arrive in 7 minutes. And given the current time displayed on the signboard, 7:39. So the R train is expected to be at the station around 7:46 a.m. So this is kind of a more advanced analysis that you don't really get with any other vision models. And really allows, it just demonstrate the strength of the GPT Vision API, which really gives you context plus a really good image analysis to create this advanced image analysis that you don't really see with any other models. And that's what multimodal large language models such as this GPT-4 Vision really brings. Another example here is handwriting OCR. So we talked a little bit about how it's not only just text that it can understand, but it can actually understand handwriting. And the prompt here is, please check if the answers and work are correct on this math homework. And it can really take in all the text from this math homework and do an analysis based on their large language model to really understand if the math questions are correct. And this can open up many, many avenues within business and education. And it gives a full analysis here. It's saying the answers and work on the math homework are both correct. And it's saying, then it gives a full analysis of how this math homework works. And obviously, this is a very basic example, maybe first, second grade homework, but you can see how this can be scaled up to college level math and beyond, and really really revolutionize education in a lot of ways. Another key thing here to mention is, if you're familiar with LaTeX, which is a very common tool in the world of academia to represent mathematical equations and formulas, it's always been a very big issue to try to copy and paste from a PDF that's included math formulas. If you ever tried copy pasting from a PDF, the PDF encoding is very different from the format we need for normal documents. And GPT-4 Vision can really solve this issue through its ability to generate LaTeX from images of math equations. And here's just an example here. All right, this is just someone's physics homework, right? This is a pretty advanced physics problem here on the left, and it's completely handwritten. And GPT is able to take that and turn it into an actual PDF that can be viewed online or on a PDF viewer. And this is pretty amazing stuff, right? These are pretty difficult signs. You can't really represent this with your base 64 or your ASCII characters. nothing like that. This is really what you need a GPT for, because it can translate this into something called LaTeX, which is a pretty popular tool for representing mathematical equations. It's used all over the academia. And this is really important when you're trying to decipher text like this and trying to create these PDFs out of literally just text. And that's one of the great strengths of the GPT-4 Vision API. Okay, so now we can talk a little bit about integrating the GPT Vision API into data systems. And this can really significantly streamline and upgrade the data analysis processes. The API is really designated for seamless integration and ensuring that it works smoothly within the current data formats, protocols, and workflows. And this really minimizes disruption to ongoing operations. So with the GPT-4 Vision API, the scope of AI-driven data analysis expands dramatically. The API's advanced image recognition and interpretation go beyond basic analysis, providing nuanced insights that were previously inaccessible. And it can discern patterns and details within visual data, offering richer understanding that we can drive innovative solutions and strategic decisions from. Security and privacy are paramount in today's digital landscape, and GPT-4 Vision does not compromise on these areas. It adheres to robust data and security privacy standards and aligns with the latest regulations in terms of ethical guidelines and AI implementation. And this commitment really helps organizations to maintain trust while comply with the legal requirements while leveraging cutting-edge AI technologies. So by adopting GPT Vision, organizations can really unlock a new level of analytical insights, ensuring data security and maintaining operational continuity. So this is really where we get into, so the GPT-4 Vision API is not really just a standalone tool. It can be really engineered for straightforward integration with data systems, including modern database technologies such as SingleStore. And this integration allows for the direct implementation of the API into your current code bases, enabling your systems to just harness the power of advanced computer vision capabilities really effortlessly. So with the GPT-4 Vision, the analysis of images and videos stored in your databases becomes profoundly more insightful, allowing for the extraction of key features and data points that were previously difficult to quantify. SingleStore, with its ability to perform real-time analytics, can really take full advantage of GPT-4's capabilities and GPT-4 Vision's capabilities, and it really offers a fast ingest pipelines and horizontally scalable architecture that's perfect for the demands of processing large volumes of image data. And when combined, GPT Vision and SingleStore can really offer a powerful duo and can kind of analyze and contextualize data in real time. And this synergy allows for businesses to perform complex queries, including vector functions and semantic searches, to drive more informed decisions and innovative AI applications. This result is just a robust response and an intelligent data ecosystem that is primed for the future of analytics. So data analysis is really important. So advanced AI-driven analysis is another thing that the GPT Vision can really give a major enhancement in how businesses comprehend and utilize visual data. This advanced AI-driven approach goes beyond a mere image recognition, and it really offers a profound visual understanding and delivering metrics and insights that can really be transformative to a business. And it enables companies to not just see, but also interpret the wealth of information hidden within their imagery, and providing a deeper appreciation of customer interactions and behaviors. And by tapping into this rich data, businesses can really craft more personalized experiences, products, ultimately leading to more improved customer satisfaction and loyalty. And GPT Vision thus represents not just an upgrade in this technology, but a leap forward in customer-centric business strategies. So the GPT Vision API really prioritizes security and privacy in integrating robust features that are essential for any scalable system. And in an era where data breaches are really significant concern, the built-in security measures of GPT-4 Vision really ensures that user data is handled with utmost care. And an important aspect of this commitment is the API is designed to avoid disclosing personal information. For example, it doesn't perform facial recognition or any form of analysis that could compromise an individual's privacy. Its ethical stance on data handling is crucial for maintaining user trust and complying with global data protection regulations. And also, it cannot solve CAPTCHA puzzles, which is really important in order to prevent bots from taking advantage from this technology. So here's an example here. We are asking the GPT vision, who is this, right? And it says it cannot identify this person. And I asked a little bit more, asking why can it not identify this image that we've uploaded? And it says that the capability is really designed with a strict privacy policy that includes not identifying or making assumptions about individuals and images, and including public figures. So this is really to show their privacy concerns and really how they're taking that into account when you're using the API. So another thing here, so CAPTCHA solving is disabled. So if a bot tries to go through and, go through a website without actually solving these CAPTCHA puzzles, it's not going to solve it, and understands it's trying to do that. And that's where the contextualization of GPT vision is really important, and especially in creating these secure systems. So, so there's another side of this. So the management and querying of image data sets is undergoing revolution with the assistance of AI, specifically GPT-4 vision. And the technology automates image categorization effortlessly by organizing and tagging large volumes of images. And this automation streamlines the process of making dataset management more efficient and less prone to error, which especially beneficial for industries that have handle extensive visual data. GPT-4 Vision's enhanced image search capabilities and integrate AI to interpret and locate images based on complex queries. And this includes understanding the content within these images and providing a contextual analysis, which is a significant advancement over traditional keyword-based search methods and allows for a more intuitive retrieval process, which is really akin to asking a human expert to find images based on the description of their content. So the GPT vision really excels at extracting visual data insights and can analyze visual data to extract meaningful insights, and that really aid in decision-making and trend analysis, empowering businesses to make data-driven decisions with comprehensive understanding of not only just textual content, but now with GPT vision, visual content. And this capability can really be a game changer in marketing and other fields where visual trends are really pivotal. So GPT vision can automatically categorize and tag large volumes of images, and this is really useful for databases of images that are very diverse and do not have any common features. Most vision models today are trained on specific features. For example, is a dog and a cat on an image, and they train based on those features. But GPT vision's vastness really allows for much better categorization. And the function is really invaluable for organizing large data sets where manual tagging is really impractical, right? So you have a bunch of different objects, but you're not able to manually tag all those different images and label them. So it really provides a level of granularity and accuracy and categorization that really surpasses what was possible previously, and offering significant time savings and operational efficiency. So another thing is harnessing the power of GPT vision. We can transcend the traditional image search limits, and this is really by pairing with SingleStore's high performance database architecture. GPT vision capabilities are really significantly amplified, and SingleStore excels in handling the substantial data sets that GPT vision requires, facilitating swift and efficient data management. This combination becomes a powerhouse for real-time analytics, providing instant insights into vast image repositories. And whether it's for media libraries or surveillance systems, the synergy between SingleStore and GPT-4 Vision really ensures that data is not only accessible, but also immediately actionable, setting a new benchmark in the realm of AI-driven analytics. And GPT-4 Vision really revolutionizes visual data analysis by providing integrated image interpretation, recognizing patterns, and This overall visual textual analysis brings a bunch of new avenues for predictive insights and a holistic view that's really pivotal for informed decision making. So now we can get into a little bit of a demo here. So this demo, we're going to get into one of the many use cases for the GPT-4 Vision API. And you're able to talk with GPT Vision about a live basketball game using OpenAI Whisper and also OpenAI text-to-speech as well as SingleStore. And we're going to play this demo here. So, all right, so I'm watching this basketball game right now, and I want to talk to AI about what's going on. So I'm going to go over here and run the script. So which team is winning right now?
It's a tie game right now. Both teams are locked at 100 with just under 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. It's anyone's game.
Awesome. So which two teams are playing right now?
The Clippers are rocking those slick black jerseys while the Rockets are in white. This matchup is intense.
What just happened?
The Clippers just nailed a clutch three-pointer to take the lead. The crowd's going wild. Only 6 seconds left.
Which team are you rooting for?
I'm all in for the Clippers. Let's close this game out with a win.
Awesome. So that practical application of the GPT Vision API really showcases the versatility and real-time sports analytics with their basketball buddy algorithm. And this algorithm is really a multi-component system where we can really transform the way we interact with live sports events. So firstly, it uses the GPT-4 Vision, which really comes into play in analyzing visual input from the game, making sense of action on the court and generalizing contextual responses. This could range from player identification to strategy analysis. And then OpenAI Whisper steps in and converting those spoken commentary or text questions into text and really ensures the system's understanding of the user's verbal input. And conversely, OpenAI's TTS, text-to-speech technology, verbalizes the system's text responses and creates a natural conversational experience for the user. And all this is supported by SingleStore, a robust database that stores user prompts and processes queries at remarkable speeds, enabling real-time interaction. And with SingleStore DB, the system's responses are not only accurate, but delivered without a delay in a lot of cases. And now we can move on to a live demo where we can really see, or we can move on to a live demo after we can understand how this works. So let's look at some of the understanding of how the pre-processing works, first of all. So as we develop deeper into the technical prowess, the pre-processing is really important in order to really prepare the frames for putting it into the GPT-4 Vision API. This stage is all about taking the frame and continuously putting them into the GPT Vision API. And obviously the GPT Vision does not take video inputs at the time. So you would need to really make sure that you're putting in the correct frames that are able to contextualize best for GPT Vision. So what we're doing is it begins with a dynamic frame capture, which is an ongoing process where video input is continuously read. And then we have image processing conversion like OpenCV and Pillow libraries that really refine these frames. And finally, the efficient frame storage management is where the system really organizes its processed frames, and each frame is methodically stored into a designated folder, and which allows for a really swift retrieval and subsequent analysis by the AI system. And this organization is really important when we get to the next steps here. So here's how this is working. And I can go into a little bit of code later. I think we're running a little short on time here. So here's just like the general process of having a conversation with OpenAI GPT Vision. So first you have to get the user's voice as an input. Then you have to use the OpenAI Whisper API to really generate the user prompt transcript. Then you can input the user prompt and generate in the current frame of the video into GPT Vision, and that generates, or you'd also store the GPT Vision text output, and then you would feed the output text into the OpenAI text-to-speech API to generate the output voice. And finally, you'd store the current output text and input it back into the user's next prompt. And that's where SingleStore really comes when you're storing these prompts from the previous queries from the user. It's really important to have something that's really accessible to create a bit more context, and understanding the user's past queries can really help GPT Vision and GPT overall to contextualize your responses for next responses that could really help it over the course of just you're talking to it about a basketball game, whatever use case you're using. Context is very important, and that's where SingleStore comes in. So getting the user's voice input is also very important. So it begins by adjusting the ambient noise levels and continually listens for speech, recording the process when the input exceeds the set threshold and ensuring clear voice capture, and monitors for audio input and determines when the user stops speaking, and then it saves that audio file. And finally, it does audio processing to ensure that the audio data is in a usable format, preparing for the AI system for further analysis. And then really comes where, as we explore the capability of SingleStore DB in our AI ecosystem, it's imperative to recognize its role in enhancing the performance of AI systems like GPT-4. SingleStore DB really facilitates a rapid access to data, which is a feature crucial for swift responses expected from AI models in real time. And when it comes to fine-tuning high-caliber models such as GPT-4, SingleStore's vector databases are really invaluable, providing a robust platform to store really large training data sets of vectors. And this really ensures the model, as it learns and evolves, it has a solid database and infrastructure to support its growth. And while GPT-4 Vision doesn't currently support model fine-tuning, the potential for such features is currently on horizon, and there are many other models that OpenAI provide where there's a bunch of fine-tuning capabilities where SingleStore is really useful. But as of right now, GPT-4 Vision does not support that. But in the interim, SingleStore DB really excels in storing user prompts, which is essential for component for really scaling these AI systems. And it's not only about just storing data, it's about also retrieving it efficiently and ensuring that AI can continuously learn from the user interactions. And by capturing and organizing these prompts, SingleStore DB can ensure that the system can really handle increased loads and maintain performance and deliver personalized interactions where they're key to satisfaction in AI-driven solutions. So finally, the next step here is to use the OpenAI Whisper API to generate the user prompt transcript. And so what this is doing, it's taking the audio file and it's essentially generating a text transcript, and it's using the Whisper model by OpenAI. And then we're taking that text transcript from the user and also the current frame of the video. For example, this one is a basketball game, and we're putting it into GPT Vision. Obviously, we have their encoding in base 64. And so once we have that, we're going to get the GPT-4 Vision's response, and we're going to put it into OpenAI text-to-speech to generate the voice. And this is, we're using the TTS1 model, and here are some other configurations. And finally, the future of GPT Vision and multimodal AI, it can really enhance a lot of fields. Obviously, autonomous vehicles, advanced medical diagnosis, we talked about a little bit earlier. Autonomous vehicles, we can go, there was a case study earlier this year as soon as GPT-4 Vision came out, and it really demonstrated GPT-4's ability. So it could accurately understand the intentions of surrounding traffics, and this is currently. You can really see its future potential, even if it can do this currently, right? It could really it could not really distinguish from left and right, and it had failures in traffic light recognition, difficulty with spatial reasoning and distances, but you can really see how this can be used in the future. So let's go through a live demo now. We don't have much time, but I will try my best to fit it in. So let me screen share really quickly. All right, Matt, can you confirm? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can. If you can make it a little bigger, that'd be awesome, but I can see it.
Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, so here's a little bit of our code here. I don't know how much time we'll get into the code, but we're going to be providing the GitHub so you guys can check it out. But we can check out how this works, and I can give you a little bit of a live demo. So essentially what this needs is you need to capture the frames of the basketball game. So we're going to look at this basketball game here, and let me pull up the live view. So this is the basketball game, and obviously we're capturing the current frame and we're saving it into our frames folder. And that frame will be used by the OpenAI GPT Vision API to really understand what's going on. So if I run this other program for actually interpreting my voice, I'm going to do like a little bit of a quick demo here. So who are playing right now? So it's taking that a little bit of time here, but obviously with time it can
It's the Clippers
improve
against
its
the
responses.
Rockets. And man, it's a nail biter with the scores tied. Let's see who takes it home.
So you can really see this here. It's a response that it just generated. And we talked about how this works. So it's taking in my voice, using Whisper to generate the text. And then it uses GPT-4 Vision as well as the current frame to understand what's going on in the scene. And it uses my prompt, which is who we're playing right now. And we can try another thing. So wait, give me a second. So we can give it another prompt here. So what is the current score? Oh, sorry about that. Okay. What is the current score? So sometimes the TTS from OpenAI has a little bit of issues, but what is the current score? There we go.
The Clippers are up 104-100, and it's nail-bitingly close with only 0.6 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and this really demonstrates its ability to have really a conversation with an image about, and actually a video about like current games. And this you can see how this can open up many different avenues in the future with, talking to AI about certain different. It doesn't have to be sports. It can be, like when you're doing your homework. There's a video you're watching, and yeah, there's a bunch of different applications here. And Matt, I think we can do Q&A now. I think that's pretty good.
That sounds perfect. Yep. So we'll start the Q&A now. If you haven't already started, jump down to that Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom console. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and we'll email anyone that we don't get to. So I see a question here for you, Ayush. You talked about that like human recognition, the limits on it or the rules against it. It says, can you analyze works of art such as masterpieces? You know the answer to that one?
So yes, you can actually analyze works of art. So it's actually based on the GPT Vision's training data set. And the data set is a very vast data set. You can read a little bit more about the GPT Vision paper and what their data comes from and their context analysis. But I'm sure that artworks qualify as public pieces of work. I'm not sure if that really goes into the personal identification. It probably depends on the circumstance. But maybe if it's if it's a self-portrait or something like that. But maybe more famous artwork such as the Mona Lisa or something like that, I'm sure it can pretty contextualize pretty well. And I don't think that should be a big of security issue there.
Nice. I saw you showed that like PDF of chicken scratch writing and the math formulas earlier. And I see Boris asked a question here. How can you check if the formulas are showing correctly by GPT-4? If you run into any of that, Ayush?
Yeah, so you can't actually verify a lot of the time. So the big thing about GPT-4 is it can have some accuracy issues. Right now, obviously, this is the first version of GPT-4 Vision, and I'm sure over time, as their training data set gets bigger and larger over time, and you can actually fine tune towards handwriting. So the great thing about GPT-4 and OpenAI is it allows you to really fine tune these models. And that's where SingleStore really comes in and really gives you the ability for vector databases to make that process a lot more streamlined. And I think with handwriting, I'm sure that there'll be a big thing once GPT-4 Vision allows you to fine tune these models. I think handwriting will be a really big thing that comes up and allows you to really get really good accuracy from that. And I'm sure right now it's not going to give you 100% accuracy because they're not exactly fine tuned for handwriting, but it still does a pretty good job even today.
Good stuff. Akmal, I'm going to give one to you. I know there's been multiple questions about, is SingleStore free to use? What's the trial like? I also saw some questions about is there going to be a lot of images or video data associated with this? Is that going to be costly, or is that going to be possible to handle nicely? So I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about SingleStore's pricing and value proposition.
Okay, so the product is, yes, there is a free version available. You can get a license through the portal, install a 4-node version free of charge. So that's the full product, okay? Docker container available as well. Recall that there was an announcement at the conference recently in San Francisco that we are going to introduce a free tier, free for life. Okay, so that's going to make life much easier as well for people, especially for developers. I think other vendors do this, and we're going to be offering this capability as well. So it's a great way to kind of get your fingers dirty, as it were. Try the software out, being able to experiment with it, small scale examples, proof of concept, and then of course we have awesome technical resources available in the company if you really want to take that a step further and then scale up and try something larger, such as POC, for example. That was entirely possible. The vector stuff, okay, so the multimodal capabilities is essentially that's what we're looking at here. So we've done a lot of text-based presentations over the past year. And so this is somewhat different, but very exciting and very interesting, because now you're not just dealing with standard kind of ASCII types, okay, the vision, the images, there is a representation of that, okay, and storing that in the database system. Remember, at the end of the day, it's just ones and zeros, right? Very easy to do. Or whatever the sort of embedding equivalent of that is, that could still be stored. That's fine. I think the one question I had for Ayush, which I saw a number of people mentioning, is that videos. So essentially, you're just taking images, aren't you, Ayush? You're kind of taking a snapshot in time to be able to analyze that currently, because it is very much based around static images, but you can break a video down into a set of images. And I think the concern, one of the concerns was that how would you do this if you got a really long video, right? And how much would it cost then? Because if you're having to send this across to OpenAI, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's definitely a big concern about videos, because actually GPT Vision actually charges based on each image. And so with videos, you're going to have to filter in multiple frames. And so that's going to really come down to your algorithm and how you want to give frames. I know people have done different things where they've shown like one frame every 1 or 2 seconds or so that they can, minimize the cost a little bit while still giving a good analysis. And so for this demo specifically, I'm just feeding in one image, and it still did a pretty good job of contextualizing. But if you want more of a rolling average of, from when you ask it to while it's trying to analyze, I think maybe you can do something where you take in a couple frames every 1 or 2 seconds. So there's things you can do. And I think as more models come out, and obviously GPT-4 is a model that GPT-4 Vision is a model that costs a lot with their API. There might be more models in the future that can really leverage this and that are more open sourced, where you can leverage this multimodal technology without the super high API cost. And I saw another question, one more question if we want to answer here. Someone asked, sorry about that. I think I lost the question. Yeah, so can we fine tune it to custom data sets? I want to use it as a labeling tool. So currently you cannot fine tune it, and that's what I was mentioning a little bit earlier. GPT-4 Vision, you can't fine tune it with their API yet, but I'm pretty sure OpenAI is probably going to release that in the next couple of months. I'm not sure with the state of OpenAI how fast that'll be being released, but we'll see over the next couple of months. Obviously, with their GPT 3.5, GPT-4, they have fine tuning abilities, but with images, I'm sure that will be a really great use case as well. So,
Yeah, one very quick question for you, Ayush. So were you using the Whisper locally on your machine, or are the calls actually going to OpenAI?
For this project itself, I was using Whisper that was going to OpenAI. I was doing requests, but I haven't played around with it on my machine. Is it, if it's faster or it has any faster responses?
I've used it for previous webinars, and I found it better simply because
Okay,
it's local,
that's good to
and
know.
it's free,
Awesome.
and it's on GitHub, and it's as good as what they provide, what you pay the money for. So essentially.
Good stuff. I see we are out of time here. I'll answer one more. I saw somebody asking, how could we potentially use this in different businesses use cases? I'll let you know we have webinars planned for the future. There's a couple different that we've looked at, like analyzing satellite data for financial services. So you can imagine like, looking at parking lots, seeing if Target's parking lot is full, are they going to hit their Christmas numbers if, their parking lots are full or not? We've also talked about for like consulting or accounting business, you're feeding in PDFs or other, CSVs or whatever data and analyzing the health of a company, or insurance claims, like automating insurance claims analysis. So anyways, there's a lot of really cool business use cases. Also, if you're interested in this topic, I just put the bit.ly in the chat a few minutes ago. We would love to have you for the OpenAI for resume scanning and evaluation. There's another use case. You can see how OpenAI and SingleStore can transform document processing and analysis in real time and at scale. Hope to see you there. That link, that RSVP link, is in the chat. And then the winner of today's AirPods raffle, Farhan Siddiq, Senior Director of Architecture at GlaxoSmithKline in New York City. You are our winner. Congrats, Farhan. If that's not you, don't give up. We're going to send out one more AirPods by the end of the day to anyone who tries out Ayush's GitHub demo that he showcased today. Keep an eye on your email for that. I also put it in the chat if anybody grabbed that, but we'll send it out via email as well, along with the recording of today's webinar. Thank you, Ayush and Akmal, for an awesome presentation. Thank you to our audience, and have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.